We all step on the scale. But what if I told you that one of the most important clues to your health isn't about your total weight at all? What if it's about where you carry that weight? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a super simple yet incredibly powerful health marker that's hiding in plain sight, your waist circumference. So, let's just dive right in with a big question. For years, we've been told to aim for a normal BMI, right? The body mass index. But here's the thing. If you hit that magic number, does that automatically mean you're metabolically healthy? Are you totally in the clear? Well, it turns out the answer is not so simple. And that leads us straight to what you could call the BMI blind spot. Because while BMI can be a useful starting point, it's missing a huge piece of the puzzle when it comes to understanding our actual health. Just look at this breakdown. BMI, it's just a ratio of your total weight to your height. It can't tell the difference between a pound of muscle and a pound of fat. And this is the big one, it has no idea where on your body that fat is stored. But waist circumference, that's different. It's a direct measurement of the fat you're carrying around your middle, the fat that's most closely tied to health risks. And this, right here, is the crucial takeaway. It is totally possible to have a BMI that's considered normal, but still carry a risky amount of fat around your organs. It's a condition sometimes called normal weight central obesity, and it's the perfect example of something the bathroom scale will never, ever tell you. All right, so let's really dig into how a simple tape measure can tell us more about our health than we might think. It's time to start thinking about your waist measurement as a true vital sign.
The key term here is central adiposity. And we're not just talking about the squishy stuff on the surface. We're talking about visceral fat. This is the deep internal fat that wraps around your vital organs, your liver, your intestines. And this stuff isn't just sitting there. It's metabolically active. It's like a whole other organ pumping out hormones and inflammatory substances that affect your entire body.
And here's exactly why that visceral fat is such a big deal. Because it's so active. It's a major driver of things like insulin resistance and chronic inflammation. It can seriously mess with your cholesterol levels. All of this puts you on the fast track for cardiometabolic problems. And studies are even seeing its negative effects on blood vessel function in pretty young adults. So now that we get what it is and why it's a problem, let's look at some of the specific long-term health risks that researchers have connected directly to a larger waistline.
Let's start with this number, 5 centimeters. That's about 2 inches. Now, by itself, that might not sound like a whole lot, but when you look at it during a very specific time in life, it becomes a really significant warning sign.
Get this, studies show that for women going through menopause, gaining just 5 centimeters or more around their waist is linked to a higher risk of developing breast cancer after menopause. This is a perfect example of how a shift in where your body stores fat, not just a change in total weight, can be a direct signal for serious health issues. And this isn't some random one-off finding. We see this pattern again and again across different groups. For older adults, a bigger waist is tied to a higher risk of dying from cancer. For postmenopausal women, it's linked to a higher risk of death from pretty much all causes, especially cardiovascular disease. And for adults with diabetes, it points to a greater risk of heart failure. The evidence is just piling up, and it's crystal clear. What's happening around your middle is a major flag for your future health. Okay, I know this can all sound a little heavy, but here comes the really good news, the empowering part. Your waist circumference is a number you have control over. This isn't just about understanding risk, it's about seeing a clear opportunity to make a positive change. But first, if you're going to track it, you have to measure it the right way. It's pretty simple. You find the very top of your hip bone and the bottom of your rib cage. The spot you want is right in the middle. Wrap a flexible tape measure around, breathe out like you normally would, and check the number. Just make sure the tape is snug but not digging into your skin. And why is it so important to actually break out the tape measure instead of just guessing? Well, a really interesting study showed that what people think their measurement is versus what it actually is often doesn't match up, especially for men. So, to get a real accurate picture, you've got to measure. So the great news is that once you start tracking your waistline, there are concrete things you can do to improve it. Research consistently shows that combining diet changes with exercise is super effective. Things like intermittent fasting and real structured strength training can make a big difference. And what you eat obviously matters too, with plant-based diets showing a really strong connection to smaller waists. And this quote from a recent study Man, it just says it all perfectly. WC reduction is a meaningful health improvement marker beyond overall weight change. This means that even if the number on the scale isn't budging much, seeing your waist measurement go down is a huge win. It's a sign you're losing that dangerous visceral fat, and that's what really matters for your long-term health.
So let's bring this all home. How do we actually use this information to get a smarter, more complete picture of our health?
The key here is not to just throw BMI in the trash. It's better to think of waist circumference as its essential partner. When you use them together, you get a much richer story. It helps you spot that hidden risk in people with a normal BMI, and it gives you a more sensitive tool to see the amazing progress you're making with your lifestyle changes.
So I'll leave you with this thought. Your scale gives you one piece of data, your total weight. But that's just one chapter of the story. A simple measuring tape can tell you a completely different story, a story about your metabolic health. So the real question is, what story is your measuring tape trying to tell you?